Hello. The temperatures in June were pretty low, and in July they haven't been very much better, and so everything in our garden is really quite far behind where I'd expect it to be. But I thought today we'd have a look at some of the things I have managed to get done in the garden over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm Zorab, and this is Byther Farm. So we're actually going to start with the most recent things and work our way backwards. These beans were planted earlier in the year. They weren't overwintered ones. I found it's too wet here to overwinter beans. They just get eaten by slugs. So these were sown early in spring. Now I could just harvest the beans on the lower part of the plant, which will be the bigger beans, but actually I kind of want to clear some space in here for the next harvest to go in. Now I wouldn't normally pull up a plant, but I just wanted to show you this. So on the roots here you may be able to see these tiny little white lumps, little nodules. And these are nitrogen nodules, because beans and all the plants in the bean and pea family all produce nitrogen fixing nodules, and they'll fix the nitrogen into the ground, which then makes it available for other plants to use at a later date. But not if you pull the whole plant up. You need to cut the plant off and leave this end in the ground. And actually, as far as I understand, if the plant has gone to flower, it will have used up a lot of the nitrogen, but it's still worth leaving them in the ground because there will be some. I'm just going to harvest this row here and maybe some from the middle row. There's 3 rows of beans in here. I'll leave the ones at the back because they're on the north facing side, so they really will have had much less sun to develop. Now when I put these beans in here in the spring, I alternated red and white cabbages between the plants. The red cabbages have done okay-ish. The white cabbages have really been nibbled by slugs, but they all look like they could do with a lot more light, and that's because they will have been shaded out by the bean plants. So once I've processed those beans, I'm going to come back through. I'll remove some of the calendula. I'm not going to throw them out, I'm just going to move them to somewhere else in the garden so that there's fewer places for slugs to hide. And then I will plant some more brassicas in here. I've got some more that I've been growing on in the polytunnel. So I'm going to add the beans into this hot composter. This is its second batch that I'm creating here, and very shortly I'll show you how I got on with the first batch that I put in. Unless it's been absolutely pouring with rain, I've been out most mornings to do a bit of deadheading. And with lupins, usually if they've got over halfway the flower stem with making seeds, I'll take them off and let the younger ones come through. Partly this is about me managing my time because I've got a lot of lupins and I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just make a judgment call and go, okay, well, I don't get to enjoy that bit. I leave these on the floor and absolutely the pollinators will still find them. And because the plant hasn't received messages to say, oh, I've produced seeds and they've actually got to maturity and dropped to the ground, it will carry on producing flowers. Now you'll see bags all around the garden. This one is from our local council. It's a peat-free soil improver. It's certainly not a compost that I want to start seedlings off in, but it's great for using as a mulch. And then once the bags are empty, I'll turn them inside out. Or I haven't with that one, but usually I'll turn them inside out. And then as I'm weeding, I'll put weeds into them, I'll tie them off. And then I know that those weeds have got weed seeds in them and that they need to be composted at heat. Or we can take them to the local municipal tip and then eventually they'll come back here as soil improver. While we're in this part of the garden, I just wanted to point out how well the beans are doing. They're flowering, they're almost at the top of the poles. These are my Greek gigantes beans, so I won't be picking these. No harvest until the end of the season, but I'm really pleased that they have started flowering, which means we will have some beans this year. Every year I am asked about two plants in particular. One is this red flowering Monmouthshire, and I will leave links in the video description and also on my website to tell you more about this. And the other plant is this one, and this is an Asturian tree cabbage. It doesn't form a head, it does these enormous leaves. Only need to harvest 1 or 2 leaves for a meal, and it's a short-lived perennial. And I'll also leave information about this and links of where you can buy the seeds in the video description. We need some potatoes for the house, so I'm just going to lift one plant here and one plant further along the row. And let's see how they're doing. Well, we have some potatoes, so that's good. But not very many. Haha, that's a nice one. And now I'm lifting from the other end of the bed. And that's the seed potato there. Lots and lots of little ones, so really need to be left longer. But we need some for the potatoes for the kitchen right now, so there we go. These are really nice, good size potatoes, and a few little ones. These are smaller, but more of them. These are the potato plants I've just lifted and harvested, and I thought there's still lots and lots of baby potatoes on them, so why don't I take a pot, place one of the plants in the pot. Can you see there's still some baby potatoes there, so I'm going to put it in. I'm going to cover it over with soil, and this is just molehill soil, and we'll leave them a few weeks and come back and see if they've grown. if you want to know what you can sow in your veg garden during July and August, well, I've made a video or two, and I'll leave links on the screen and also in the video description. And if you click on those links, it'll take you straight through to those videos.